if you're familiar with Gießen, so outside of Gießen, there is a Buddhist monk castle. They call it the Nirvana Center. So Brita and I, we were invited as guests to stay at the castle, and we were able to spend a weekend with the monks. So these monks, they are Thai Buddhist monks. So Thai Buddhist monks, they are unique in the Buddhist hood. And what's unique about them, we found out during our time there, is that the Thai Buddhist monks, Buddhism is in the culture, but if you want to dedicate your life as a monk, you can decide how long you want to become a monk. You can become a monk for one day, 1 year. So you decide if you want to extend it and become a monk all your life. So that was very interesting for me because it broke my concepts of what a monk is, because I thought once you decide to be a monk, just like you decide to be a nun, you will be a nun for the rest of your life. But that wasn't the case. And these monks from Thailand, they were unique in the sense also that several of them, they had a previous life before being monks. And there was one man, he's about our age, in his 60s. He had been a monk for 3 months, and he he has family, he has children, he has wife, he has yeah, he worked, and he had a whole life, but he decided after he finished his working life, retired, that he wanted to be a monk. So we met him and we talked to him. We spent quite some time with him. So these are the pictures. This is the castle, and the castle itself is about 800 years old, and it was a very unique experience staying in this castle. And another part that was unique is this man here, this monk. So he is basically, I guess you'd say, the head monk. So, but he's also an artist. So he paints as well. And so before he became a monk, he was a well-known artist in Thailand. So we learned a little bit about the culture, the Thai culture, the Buddhist culture from Thailand. And so this castle, the center, so they call it the Nirvana Center for Peace. So he calls himself an ambassador, a peace ambassador. So I don't know where he got the title from, but it sounds very, very familiar for us. So, but the idea behind Buddhism is that you want to reach nirvana. So nirvana is the goal. So you have to overcome a lot of, yeah, anger problems, mind body problems, desire, and but that's the goal. So my understanding of nirvana for me is when you feel one with the universe, you feel one with God, you feel that you can love all the creation. and you can love all people. For me, this is nirvana. So once you reach nirvana, I guess you should keep nirvana alive. But what's important is the meditation for the Buddhist. So the meditation practice. So also the fact that they come to Germany. For me, it's very funny. They came all the way to Germany, set up the center, the people in this little village. There's a little village around just outside the castle. There's a little village. So there are no people there are Buddhist, but they are very, I don't know, I guess they're going to be suspicious because what they dress, the way they dress. So these Buddhists, they have 3 pieces of clothing to become a Buddhist. So this is the last day. We left on a Sunday, last Sunday. So he was sort of giving me some sort of encouragement and guidance. And this man here, he's been a Buddhist monk for 3 months. He was like his translator. And he was very nice. We spent a lot of time with him, talking with him. He's the one that's married. He doesn't he doesn't practice his marriage life as a Buddhist monk, but he's not divorced from his wife. So it's very unique, this Buddhism, Thai Buddhism. Um, and we were able to experience the culture from a distance. So we are, looking from the outside in. So we were invited to restaurant, Thai restaurant, of course. They love Thai food. So at the Thai restaurant, we had nice food. We met some of the associates to the Buddhist temple, and but what was very unique was the people, the ones that were Buddhist, they did full bows to this monk. So in the restaurant, they did full bow, to this Buddhist monk in public, all the way down to the floor. So, and just saying that, it makes you see the reverence that the Thai Buddhists have for the monks. So being a monk, I feel that being a monk in Thailand has a very high status. So it wasn't a religious experience, but because we believe in trying to understand other religions. So it was an educational experience in that way, and a unique educational experience. So today, actually, I want to talk about, the culture of our culture. So our culture, I believe, in our movement, we want to create a culture. We talk about heavenly culture. We talk about creating something new, although it feels very traditional. Um, we have a lot of different practices that is foreign for us Western members. One is bowing culture, sitting on the floor, um, and also this vertical culture toward your centrifugal, your what do you call them, elders, the vertical culture, respect for your elders and your religious leaders. So for the Western culture, this is a very new type of phenomenon. At least for me, it was new, especially sitting on the floor. The sitting on the floor was very difficult when I joined the movement. But and I never really got used to it. But so what is this culture we are trying to create, and what is culture? So here the culture definition of culture. Culture refers to the shared beliefs and values, norms, behaviors, customs, traditions, arts, language, social practices of a group of people. It shapes how individuals within a society interact with one another and interpret their world. Culture is passed down from generation to generation and evolves over time, influencing everything from social structures to daily habits. It can include both tangible elements like art, food, clothing, architecture, as well as intangible aspects like rituals, language, and ethical values. So that's a lot. So culture is basically how you do things, and we want to create a heavenly culture. But this heavenly culture is not really defined, and our religion itself, I feel, is a futuristic religion because we are creating something new, something that's never happened before, and that's why the culture is also a new kind of culture. I feel we want to create this sort of new culture, um, a God-centered culture where God is included in the things that we do and in our customs and in our behaviors and just in our attitudes and in the way of tradition it talks about we should have an attitude of attendance to God and our true parents, heavenly parents. Our heavenly parent and our true parents. So our attitude in life should be a life of attendance. So this is what I want to share today. So sharing, I want to go to the Bible. I want to talk about the book of Daniel. Now, Daniel, many people know about Daniel. Daniel, what did Daniel do? Does anyone remember? Well, Daniel, if you're not familiar with his story, he was thrown in the lion den and he came out unharmed by the lion. So, Daniel, the story of Daniel, the Hebrew tribes, the Judah, kingdom of Judah, was taken captive by the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar. So Nebuchadnezzar, he took all the intelligent young men and he wanted to educate them so that they would eventually become servants in the palace. So Daniel was among these young men. So the idea was to take these bright young men, educate them, and then they would work in the palace. So for 3 years, they went to school and they were educated in the Babylonian way. You know, the Babylonians they worship statues and gods, different gods, and um, but Daniel came from the Hebrew tradition. So the Hebrew tradition believed in one. There's one God, and the tradition and the culture was that they prayed to this one God. So three times a day I don't know how many times, but at least 3 times a day, Daniel did some prayers to God. So the people living in Babylon, so they knew that was his practice. He practiced his religion, and he didn't worship the idols, the statues. So, but eventually Daniel, he gained favor of King Nebuchadnezzar. So, and the reason he gained favor for King Nebuchadnezzar from him was because one night he had this dream, and it was a disturbing dream. And this dream, he wanted to know the meaning of this dream. He was so adamant to know what it meant that if his advisors couldn't tell him the meaning of the dream, he was going to kill them, cut the heads off. So back then, that's the way you just chop the heads off. So he was going to take their lives. And also Daniel, he was he was also a person of interest that so he also was going to be killed as well. So he prayed to God to tell him what is the meaning of these dreams that the king is having. He got a revelation, the meaning of the dream, and he said, I know what these dreams mean. He went to King Nebuchadnezzar, told him the meaning of the dreams. So he accepted this as this is what was going to happen. So the dreams did come true, of course. But also, because he was able to interpret the dreams, King Nebuchadnezzar raised him up. He became in charge of uh, one part of the kingdom. So he was raised up. So Daniel became special to King Nebuchadnezzar. And he was growing, yeah, he grew. Uh, the king started to really appreciate Daniel um, and rely on him for a lot of advice. Um, but Daniel also practiced his religion. And this made many of the people, the Babylonian leadership, jealous because the king, why did the king love Daniel so much? He's not even one of them. He's not a Babylonian. So they were trying to find fault against Daniel. So the king had built a statue, another statue, and he had said that everyone had to bow down to the statue. So everyone did that except Daniel and his friends. So the king's servant, they said, you said that anyone that didn't um, bow to the statue, you will kill them. You will send them to the lion's den. And so the king, because he had said that, he was forced, even though he loved Daniel, he was forced to send Daniel to the lion's den. So, but Daniel was not afraid. He felt in his heart that God would protect him. So sure enough, this is what happened. So Daniel went to the lion's den and he was protected. So, but the King Nebuchadnezzar, couldn't sleep at night because he was afraid Daniel was going to be killed. So he couldn't even sleep. You know, he was so worried. So he woke up and Daniel was still alive. He was so happy. So this is what I want to share about Daniel. So this story, I feel, is important because every day we are challenged in our faith to show, you know, we want to show people or tell people about our faith. Many times we can't talk directly to people. So but people can see, they can see your faith by how you live, by how you live your life. They can see that something is different. I'm not saying you have to go and pray out on the street or bow down to people, but we have been called to become um, people. We have been raised up by God to become people that can show the way. We want to show people the way. And the best way to show the way is to live the way. So when people see us, they should be able to see God's expression in our lives. And this is, I think, is very key for our culture, that we can live the culture also. And just like our true father, he practiced the culture. He practiced forgiveness. He practiced loving his enemies. So our culture is a developing culture, and it is vertical side, and it sets God as the center. But our culture is also purposeful. We have a purpose in our culture. It's not just happening, but we do intentional. We have an intentional culture. And one of our purpose in our culture is what Tripama's called the intercultural exchange marriage blessing. And these blessings, these marriages, they contribute to transcending the barriers of race and culture, nationality, ethnicity, religion, and to creating a one family of humankind. We want to transform the world by our culture, and we do it through absolute faith and absolute love and absolute obedience. And when Britt and I, we visited the Buddhist monks in Germany, we didn't talk about divine principle. We actually didn't really say much, but we were a testimony, I felt, for them just by our being together, just being together. And they saw that, she's Swedish and she's white and she's coming from this other culture, and I'm American, coming from these religious black people. And I think they were just fascinated just by that part, just by that part. So the monks, they were taking all these, they took all these pictures of us, and made videos. But I felt it was, at the same time, it was a testimony. So just our being together became a testimony in itself. And also many times when we have gatherings and new guests, they come and they don't understand how can people from all these different cultures how can they gather together? How is it possible? That's the testimony. This is our testimony to the world. We can do it. We are doing it. We are creating this heavenly culture. We're going beyond. We're going beyond our Buddhist backgrounds and beyond our Christian, Jewish, and we're going beyond these barriers. And it's not an easy task, but what is most important is that we began to do it. We took up the fight, and that fight is so important for the world, because no one in the world is going to take it up because it's so difficult. So, and in music, there the cultural, we have music. So in when I studied music appreciation, we have these, you have the Baroque culture, and you had the classical culture, and the romantic music, and then the modern music. But in age, in every music age, there was always a person pushing forward, kicking it forward to the next age. And this is what I feel we are doing. We have to. You got to push the people. No one is going to be ready. People are not ready for this. They are not ready for this new age that we are living, that we are bringing. No one is going to be ready. You got to push people toward this new age and make them ready. You know, they don't know because of fear. They're afraid. They're afraid of this new age that's dawning upon us. So my hope is that we, as a movement, that we can come to understand our value. Our value is to become these people that can push people toward this new age, this new culture, this new heavenly way, and this understanding where God is a part of our daily lives.